Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and today I just got in the Nike Renew Elevate. So we've seen some leaks on this shoe and some people were saying it was the React Elevate, which had me super excited because I love React cushioning is awesome. And then some people were saying no, it's Renew. We had no idea actually, but then the shoe came out and I was like, ooh, it's pretty interesting, and it was 80 bucks. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more expensive because I was hoping that it was gonna be React, right? So if it was React, it'd probably be like around 120 bucks, but it's not. It's Renew cushioning. That's why it's called Renew Elevate. But it's super cheap. It's 80 bucks. It's $10 cheaper than the KD Tray 5.8. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but it's right there. And as you guys know, Renew cushioning is actually pretty nice. It feels very similar to Lunarlon, but it bottoms out, which we'll get into all of that. But yeah, if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But let's get started off with the traction. And they're using a geometric shape is what Nike is saying, and I guess it is very geometric. And it's a pretty cool pattern, it looks like there's some rectangles, but then not, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, there is a little bit of a texture to the grooves. The traction is insane on my wood floors, guys. Like, the squeak is super loud, it's very, very high pitched, and it bites like crazy, as you guys can see. But then, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's like dust and like all this stuff that's on my floors, that's on the rubber outsole. And my dog's shedding right now, and there's a lot of hair and stuff. So the grooves are very, very close together. So it seems like it's gonna trap a little bit of that dust. And I don't know how it's gonna perform on dust. And obviously, I'm probably not gonna know until the quarantine, all of this is over, which kind of sucks. Or if there is an indoor court that I find, that'd be awesome. But anyways, the bite on the clean court, or I guess on my wood floors, the finish on the wood is a little different than an actual basketball court. So take it with a grain of salt, but it seems like it's gonna be awesome. And the durability seems like it's gonna be good as well. The rubber is pretty damn hard, and the grooves are thick. So durability, I don't think is going to be an issue at all either. Traction seems good. I'm super excited about it. Just a little worried on dust. And then of course here in the heel, you can see the cushioning system. As far as the heel to toe transition goes, it feels very smooth. It just has that nice rocking motion, right? So you have a nice curved shape, rounded shape here in the heel. You have a pretty nice curved shape here in the forefoot, and it just keeps you on your toes. I love this shape. And there is a good amount of flex here in the forefoot area. And as far as the cushioning goes, they're using a dual cushioning system. But then you guys see this dark gray part? I feel like that's a different type of cushion, and they don't specify what it is. They say it's supposed to be a firmer, more supportive type of cushion, but then when I feel it with my fingers, the gray part actually feels a lot softer than the white part. So I don't know what's going on there, but it says Nike Renew here in the heel, and it's on the white part, and the white part has the Renew or React pattern on it. So that's kind of weird, but then the cushion is insane, guys. Like, in the heel, there's a good amount of compression. It feels like pretty bouncy as well, and soft at the same time, which I love. And it's pretty exposed, it's slightly caged. It kind of reminds me of like the Element 55, where you know how they cage the cushioning with like those plastic pieces, and it kind of looks like paint dripping down or something, but then that partially cages the cushioning, and I like how they kept that to a minimum. But yeah, in the heel it feels incredible. In the forefoot it feels pretty nice too. Like, step in comfort and underfoot cushioning feels very, very soft, and also it feels low to the ground. Like in the forefoot, court feel feels really good, and then in the heel it raises up a little bit, but a lot of this is just acting as a sidewall. So I'm really, really liking the cushioning as of right now. But then, as you guys know, Renew does bottom out, and it bottoms out pretty quickly, which kind of sucks. But there is a good amount of the Renew, so we'll have to see how fast it does bottom out. But I feel like even if it does bottom out, it'll still keep a little bit of that softness. And plus, I would rather have Renew cushioning than like Phylon, right? And of course, this is an $80 shoe, so it's super cheap. It's basically the cheapest shoe that you can get on Nike.com right now. And on the insole, there's really no graphic, which isn't a huge deal. I don't really mind it. Obviously, Nike's just trying to save money, right? Then moving on to the materials, they're using a pretty cheap feeling mesh, and it's not a one-piece upper. It looks like it's divided into, I guess, like 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So here in the forefoot you have one piece, and then in the midfoot on the lateral and medial side you have this like cheaper type of mesh material. It doesn't feel too nice, but it's in the midfoot. You really don't feel it on your foot all too much. And then the ankle area, you have the same material that's found in the toe box. I mean, for 80 bucks, I can't really complain, right? It feels very soft, it's comfortable on foot, it's thin, and ventilation seems like it's gonna be very, very good. Like, if you blow into it, you can feel the airflow, right? The only thing I don't like about it is, I guess, the quality, but like I said, you can't really complain, it's 80 bucks. You have a little bit of fuse here in the toe box area, more on the medial side. And of course, you have this very cheap feeling plastic that's basically the swoosh, and you also have another swoosh here on this lateral cage. That's basically the outsole coming up, which is a cool aesthetic. You know, you have two swooshes basically right next to each other. I think that looks really cool. And then here in the ankle area, you can see, I guess, like the stitching that kind of combines these pieces together. And then that stitching is fused, so you have a little bit more durability. In the ankle area, there is a little bit of padding. There's not too much padding, and there's not too little. It's just the right amount, you know, it feels pretty nice. The lining is very, very cheap though. Here on the bottom of the tongue, you have a very airy mesh, so that'll help with ventilation even more. And then on top of the tongue here, it says Nike, and then there's a Nike swoosh, and it kind of has like that bubble that kind of reminds me of Renew or React cushioning. And then this material is like a synthetic suede or nubuck material, which feels very, very cheap. Nike uses this material a lot on their budget models. And as far as the tongue goes, not a lot of padding, just a little bit of padding. And then the tongue is a half booty construction, so it's connected to this mesh material, which goes underneath the entire toe box area, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit, and it keeps the tongue in place. So overall, materials feel very nice on foot. But obviously, quality-wise, like if you look at it, it looks cheap, and if you feel it in hand, it feels kind of cheap. But you know, as long as it feels pretty nice and pretty comfortable on foot and minimal to me, it's not a huge deal, right? Alright, moving on to the fit, I went true to size, and the shoe fits me really well. Like at first, when I got it, it was super tight here in the toe box area. And like especially here where my toes are, it was just like holding my toes down, right? But then I was filming with it, I was wearing it like inside apartment and stuff, and in about like 30 minutes to an hour, it stretched out. And like I was like, wait, how come my feet don't feel super snug in this anymore, right? It's not that like it's super loose or anything, like it's still a snug fit for me, but then it's not as tight of a fit as it was when I first put it on, which kind of has me worried. This material feels like it's gonna stretch out a lot, you know, it doesn't feel like it's gonna be supportive either. But lengthwise, it was good for me, true to size, and widthwise, it's slightly narrow. So if you have a wide foot, I would probably suggest staying away from the shoe. But if you really want to get it, probably go not a half size up, but maybe even a full size, because that's how narrow it is and that's how snug it is here in the toe box area. This shoe has a nice heel tab, so it's easy to put this shoe on. It kind of acts like a shoehorn, right? So you just hold the shoe like this, slide your foot in, and you're good to go. Super easy. As far as the support and lockdown goes, for lateral containment, I feel like it's gonna be good, you know. Actually, I feel like it's gonna be better than the KD Tray 5.8, which, you know, I had a minor problem with as far as lateral containment goes here in the forefoot area. But the Renew Elevate has this plastic swoosh here, and that's basically where my pinky toe is, so I feel like it's gonna be good enough. And I like this swoosh that's like dipped down here into the midsole. That looks cool, and it also has a functional purpose. Like I said, the rubber outsole does wrap around here in the midfoot area to act as a lateral counter, and you have an internal TPU heel counter as well as the Renew foam coming up acting as a sidewall here, I guess, in the ankle area. So I feel like lateral containment is going to be good. This is a, I don't know, what is this, guys? This is a low, right? But then it kind of comes up here, but then it's not a mid, because a mid would just be like straight cut like this, and it's not a high because high would be higher, so I guess it's like a low mid. But you really don't feel anything on your ankle. You have a lot of ankle mobility and a lot of ankle freedom. You just feel this part kind of like over your ankle bone. It doesn't really bother me too much, but like I'd rather have a low, you know what I'm saying? I like to have the material like underneath my ankle bone, but you know, there's that. Alright, moving on to the weight. As you guys can guess, it's probably super light because it's using Renew foam, and the material is very, very thin and minimal. Obviously it's 80 bucks. I'm guessing it's that cheap light, right? So I'm guessing like 10 ounces. Yeah, 10.65 ounces. Super duper light, but it's that cheap light, you know? But then like the traction is awesome, it feels like. The cushioning is like, it's soft in the heel, but it's not too mushy or anything. There's a nice little bounce, it feels like. and then the forefoot is actually low to the ground. So I feel like this is gonna be a very, very responsive shoe. The materials don't feel very supportive, but I feel like they did a good job in like, they made the parts of the shoe supportive where it needs to be supportive, right? As far as the aesthetics go, this is a great looking shoe to me. If you look at the shoe from like kind of far away, it looks dope. Like the swoosh looks great, and I like how Renew looks like React. It doesn't look that cheap until you get close and then you see like the actual materials. You're like, yeah, that's probably a budget model, you know? But the overall silhouette I really like. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So my first impressions of the Renew Elevate are awesome, and only 80 bucks. I feel like Nike's doing a really, really good job on budget models. I don't think they're doing a good job on like best bang for your buck though. Like, you know, like comparing it to like the KT5 Low or the KT Splash 2, which is like $5 more expensive than this shoe. It has full on knit and a really, really nice cushioning setup. So I wish Nike would give you like, I guess, better quality materials, but you know, it's Nike. They know they're Nike. And as far as the performance goes and just like how it fits and how it feels right now, the traction, the cushioning and all that, it feels awesome. It feels great for me right now. So I'm super excited to lace these up and play in them. And if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But that's my first impressions review. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.